Let's talk about adverbs and how you can diagram them. Now, as you can see here, there are lots of different questions that you can ask to figure out if you're dealing with an adverb. The questions like how and when and so on. No need to memorize these, but it gives you a bit of a sense of what adverbs do. The word adverb goes back to Latin, and it comes from adverbum. Ad means to, and verbum here means verb. So the most common use of an adverb is to modify a verb, to tell you something more about a verb. If you look at this example here, it says Kenneth shaved very rarely. Shaved is our verb, and if we say, well, shaved to what degree, right, how often, then rarely is our answer, and rarely describes shaved, so this is an adverb. As it turns out, we have another adverb here as well. So very tells us about how rarely, and what we can see then is that adverbs do much more than just describe the verb. So in this case we have an adverb modifying the verb, but also an adverb modifying another adverb. It gets a bit confusing, but we'll sum up all the different uses of adverbs at the end. Now, how do you form an adverb? Well, first of all, most of the time you just add ly to an adjective. Okay, so that's pretty common, although do watch out because some adjectives end in ly as well. Examples would be ugly, oily, and so on. There are also some irregular adverbs, and some of these irregular adverbs look the same as adjectives. If you take early, for example, this will look the same in adjective and adverb form. And also we have some adverbs that are entirely unique, words like very, right, or not. These don't really have an adjective equivalent. So let's take this sentence then, Kenneth shaved very rarely, and let's diagram it here. We'll just do this by hand quickly. We have Kenneth, there we go. We draw a line between the subject and the predicate, we add the verb, and then the adverb goes on a slanted line like this. So it says rarely, and if we have an adverb modifying another adverb, we simply add it underneath. Okay. Now, one of the interesting things we can do is we can also use a prepositional phrase like an adverb. So if instead of what we just had, we write in the morning, right? In the morning, there we go. Then the prepositional phrase can act like an adverb telling you when he shaved. So with prepositional phrases then, they always act as either an adjective or an adverb. All right, now let's add another sentence here, and this is going to show us how adverbs can also modify adjectives. This sentence reads, her extraordinarily green eyes are so lovely. What you can see here is that we have two adverbs modifying two adjectives. So how green? Extraordinarily green. And how lovely? So lovely. This is another use of the adverb then to modify the adjective. And we can also see that sometimes the adverb can modify a verbal. So imagine that instead of so lovely, we had so mesmerizing, right? Then mesmerizing would be on a slanted line, half slanted line like this. That's because it's a verbal, mesmerizing. And then we would simply add the pedestal, and then we would add the adverb underneath, right? So mesmerizing. So as you can see here, mesmerizing would function like an adjective, and that's why it makes sense that we can modify it with a verbal like this as well. All right, now at this point we've seen a whole bunch of different uses of adverbs. We can see that adverbs can modify the verb, another adverb, an adjective, a verbal. We've also seen that sometimes a prepositional phrase can function like an adverb. And the last thing we'll mention here is that sometimes the adverb modifies the entire sentence. So if you say, for instance, unfortunately, all right, so unfortunately, there we go, we are too tired, or you could even just say, we are tired. There we go, we are tired. Then you would diagram it like this. Okay, so this is a predicate adjective, so we need this diagonal line. You can even add our so again if you want. And in this case, because unfortunately modifies the whole sentence and not one specific word, we've basically just placed it by itself on top on its own line. That's fairly rare, but if you come across an adverb that's modifying the whole sentence and nothing specific, then you can place it at the top. All right, so that's it for adverbs and how to diagram them.